are so fast. That's crazy. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. As you can see, we are in a G80 M3 competition today. This car is currently for sale over at Alta Auto Group. Make sure you guys check them out. I'll have them linked down below. But they've been nice enough to lend me this G80 M3 to drive for the day. And I've actually been driving it for a couple of hours before I decided to make this video. Man, these cars are so capable. I think that everyone pretty much already knows that these cars handle and perform extremely well. It always kind of takes me by surprise because I'm very used to obviously my E92 M3 or my E82 1 Series, the N54, and the S58 is just a freaking monster, man. Like, it is such an incredible engine. Even just stock, this car, it's so torquey and it rides so good and handles so good that it really never quite feels like you're going fast when you might be going pretty fast. So there really is no doubt that these cars just are incredible. I think what it really comes down to is stylistically, is this a car that you're into as far as looks, cosmetics, and also budget? These cars are expensive, man. The majority of G80 M3s and G82 M4s are like $80,000 and above. It's just a lot of money for a sports car, in my opinion, and especially like on the M series trim. Nonetheless, fantastic cars. I was able to drive a couple of these when they first came out. I drove a manual one, and I also drove a one actually very similar to this on the track that was also automatic. I was blown away every single time that I drove it. It was just a really, really, really cool car. I mean, it's really incredible how fast and torquey these cars are, and just how quick they get up to speed. It's mind-blowing. Coming from the S65, this is a very different car. But with that being said, there's a lot of things that I prefer on my E92 M3 over this G80 M3. Obviously, very different cars, different eras, but even with all of the Sport suspension, exhaust, steering, all of that, it just, I prefer the feeling of the raw E92 M3. It just feels better. It just feels more alive and authentic when I drive it. And it's not that this is a bad car by any means, because obviously it's not. It's a very capable and great handling and powerful car, but it's just not my E92 M3. And even when I first drove this car in a manual, you know, I was on the fence about it. But I think that if you were to buy one of these cars, I think the way to do it is in the automatic. I think these feel weird in manual. I think that they released the manual option just to make people happy, but it feels very out of place in this chassis. That's just my opinion on it, being that I've driven, you know, a couple of each, the G82 and the G80 in manual and automatic. I just think that these cars are better suited in the auto. I actually kind of feel the same way about the DCT and the F80 and F82s. Obviously my GTS was DCT. I kind of liked having that car in DCT. I don't know that it would feel quite as good as like the E series manuals put into the F series. Well, obviously I love manual cars, but I think some of these newer cars, they just don't feel right having the manual transmission in the newer car. However, I will say the new Supras in manual feel really good in manual. They did a fantastic job with that transmission and everything in that car. So let's hop out and take a look at it. We'll talk about the obvious things that we do like and don't like. I think you guys can already know where that's going with the front grille. The pig nose, I believe, is what Matt Mormon called it. Pig nose front grille. Kind of a polarizing design. I've never had too big of an issue with the way that these cars look, but I hate to sound like a broken record, but I'm just not a big fan of the front end. Interior, sick. I mean, the interiors on these cars, the tech, everything, like that's what you're getting when you buy one of these cars. You are getting a very, very well put together, tech savvy sports car that pretty much does it all, I guess you could say. But again, is that for me? Would I need that? No. I align more with the older cars. That's just what I'm into. But there's certainly nothing wrong with having a little bit of tech in your life. Who knows, down the road, I might have to navigate into that direction. As far as the color of the interior, gonna be honest, not the biggest fan of the blue and yellow. I think it's a bit gaudy. Personally, I would go for the carbon buckets. I know that a lot of people think that carbon buckets are not quite as comfortable as these, which is understandable. They're gonna be more stiff, but I think if you're gonna spec out a sports car like this at this trim level, this model, you might as well go for the full beans. All right, so Sao Paulo yellow. It's really, really bright highlighter yellow green. It is a bright, it's a very bright car. This is a very extreme color and it's cool, but I don't know if it's for me. Personally, I probably would not get this color. I would probably go for the Dravit. That is my favorite color out right now. In terms of the G series BMWs, I really like the Dravit gray. I think it's a beautiful color. It's like a champagne quartz with like mineral gray and some gold accents. It's just a freaking sick color. But here we are, that polarizing front grille. You guys are gonna have to tell me what you think down below about the G80. Are you guys a fan of the G80s, the G82s? The other thing about these cars right now is a lot of people have them. That's kind of what has been holding me back from jumping into this platform. Obviously a very great platform, but so many people have these cars. They are becoming quickly the most popular cars in terms of BMWs and BMW models at car shows. At least in Charlotte, North Carolina. I see these things freaking everywhere. Not a bad thing. It means that people know what they like, and obviously this is a very good car to buy, but they are really, really becoming a dime a dozen at this point. I am in the market for like a newer car, a newer build on the channel. That's kind of why I was leaning towards doing like the new M240 or maybe even the new M2. Being that the new M2 is also going to have the S58, it doesn't cost as much as the G80 and G82. I think that that car is going to be the car. Again, with that car, very polarizing looks, but people will do their thing and make them better. There are some obvious options out for the G80s and G82s when it comes to, you know, the Vorsteiner grills. Keys Motorsports makes a different grill for this. And then obviously there's like the Adro style front bumper that's a little bit different. I gotta be honest though, man, it's more than just grills and bumpers for me. I just don't love the way that the front of the car is designed. It's not that I think it's incredibly ugly, it's just not something that I would spend $80,000+ on if I just wasn't in love with the way that the body looked. And I think overall, the car all over looks really, really good. Side profile, rear profile, it's just the front. Like the front just looks really goofy, man. I'm well aware that that is like a bandwagon opinion, but in my opinion, I think the front could have been way better with just a bit more feedback from other people rather than just jumping into what they jumped into. Either way, you guys can decide for yourself and decide as to whether the G80s and G82s are worth the price tag, because they are not freaking cheap, man. These cars in general, especially the all-wheel drive versions, are extremely fast. And I almost forgot about how fast this car was. When I got in it, I was set back a little bit. Like, dude, the torque is just nuts in this car. And before you know it, you are going really fast. And they handle really good. I've driven one of these on a track. They are planted to the ground, even on stock suspension, tires, and all that. These are actually the Pirellis. Unfortunately, I would take the Michelins if I had the option. And furthermore, I'm not really a fan of these spec wheels. I think that they have better ones to offer. Just not a big fan of the silver trim with the black. This color, I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, are you into this Sao Paulo color? It's a polarizing color. It really is. This thing is bright and it is extreme and in your face instead of the carbon roof, which is really nice. I've always liked the M3s, man, over the M4s. I'm saying I do like the M4s, but I think that the M3s just have a better looking body in general. And you also get those super aggressive hips in the back, which the M3s just are known for. So anyways, you guys tell me what you think. Are you in the market for a G80 or a G82? Would you buy the M3 or the M4? What would be the options that you would get? What would be the color that you would get? I think for me, if I did the M3, I would do the Drive It Gray. I really, really like the Drive It Gray, especially on these cars. I think they look really good. And the M340. So Drive It Gray has got to be like my favorite color out of all of them. But leave a comment down below. Big shout out to the guys over at Alta Auto Group for lending me this car for today. I'll have them also linked down below. See you guys in the next one. Peace. 1, 2, 3.